Hi everyone, so in this video I'm going to show you how to crochet these pretty earmuffs. So for my earmuffs I used a 3.5mm crochet hook, and in this video I am using US terms. So thank you very much for watching, and please make sure to subscribe to my channel for more crochet videos. To begin your earmuffs, you want to start off by doing a magic circle. So to do a magic circle, you want to take your yarn and you want to take your finger and you want to wrap the yarn around your finger once and then wrap the yarn back over your finger to create a cross, like that. You then want to take your crochet hook and go underneath the first loop of the cross, and you may need to pull it up, so go underneath the first loop and then using your crochet hook, pick up the second loop of the cross and pull it through. And you can then take your finger out, and there you have a magic circle, and we are ready to begin round one. Round one, you want to chain one, and this chain one does not count as a stitch. This just locks our magic circle into place. So now for round one, we are going to do 8 single crochets into our magic circle. So 8 single crochets. So to do a single crochet, insert your hook into the magic circle, yarn over and pull up a loop, and then yarn over and pull through both loops on your hook. So there we have 1 single crochet, and you want to do that 8 times in total for round 1. So go back into the magic circle and work a second single crochet, and then back in and work a third one, then a fourth, and do this until you have 8. So I have just finished working 8 single crochets for round 1, and now to finish off this round we need to close up our magic circle and join. So to close up your magic circle, you want to take your end or your tail here, and you just want to pull this tight. So pull it as tight as you can, and that will close up your magic circle. And then to join, we're going to do a slip stitch into the first single crochet that we worked. So here is the first single crochet, and if you want you can count back 8 stitches to make sure that you're not going into the chain 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. So here's the first single crochet, and we're going to do a slip stitch into this stitch. So to do a slip stitch, insert your hook into the stitch and yarn over and pull through both loops on your hook. And you can now pull your yarn out and your hook and cut your yarn, and so fasten off, leaving a tail to weave in or work over later. And we are ready to begin round 2. So we are now on to round 2 of our earmuffs, and you can see I have fastened off, so here I have round 1. So to begin round 2 we need to attach a new colour to round 1. So what you want to do is you want to insert your hook into any stitch around, and you can choose any one. So I'm going to go with this one, and insert your hook into the stitch, then take your new colour or your new yarn, place this over the end of your crochet hook. So place it over the end and pull it through. And there we have attached a new colour, and you now want to chain 1 to lock this into place. So the chain 1 does not count as a stitch. This just makes sure that our new colour is more securely attached. So now we are ready to begin round 2. So now in round 2 of our earmuffs, we are going to be using the puff stitch. So what we are going to do into every single stitch around, so we have 8 stitches from last round, and in every single stitch we are going to do 1 puff stitch, so 1 puff, chain 1, then a second puff and chain 1. So into each stitch you want to do puff, chain 1, puff, chain 1. Then into the next stitch we'll do puff or the puff stitch, chain 1, puff, chain 1, and do that all the way around. So we have attached a new colour into this stitch here and chained 1, and this does not count as a stitch. So we're now going to go down into the same stitch, this first stitch, and work our first puff stitch. So to do a puff stitch, you want to yarn over and insert your hook into the stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop, and then do that again, yarn over and go down into the same stitch and pull up a loop, and then yarn over and go down into the same stitch and pull up a loop. So we have done that, yarn over, go into the stitch and pull up a loop 3 times, and you should have 7 loops on your hook. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And to finish off the stitch, you want to yarn over and pull through all 7 loops, and this may be a bit tricky, but just take them one at a time. So go through all 7 loops and then chain 1. So there we have puff stitch, chain 1 into the first stitch, and we're going to do that again a second time into the exact same stitch. So yarn over and go down into the same stitch again, pull up a loop, and then yarn over, go down into the same stitch a second time and pull up a loop, then yarn over and go down into the same stitch for a third time and pull up a loop. You should now have 7 loops on your hook, and yarn over and pull through all 7 loops and chain 1 like that. So there we have puff stitch, chain 1, puff stitch, chain 1, all into the same stitch, and you want to do that all the way around for round 2. So we're going to do that, so we're going to move on to the next stitch, and we're going to do the same thing, puff stitch, chain 1, puff stitch, chain 1, all into this stitch. So yarn over and go into the stitch, pull up a loop, and do this 2 more times, 3 times in total, like that. Yarn over and pull through all 7 loops on your hook and chain 1. So puff stitch, chain 1, and we're going to do that a second time into the same stitch. Yarn over and go down into the same stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over into the same stitch again, pull up a loop, yarn over and into the same stitch again, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through all 7 loops and chain 1. So there we have another set of puff stitch, chain 1, puff stitch, chain 1. And you want to repeat that all the way around for round 2. So I have just finished working that all the way around for round 2, and I have worked my final set of puff stitch, chain 1, puff stitch, chain 1 into this last stitch, and you should have 8 sets in total. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. And then to finish off this round, we're going to work a slip stitch into the very first puff stitch that we did at the beginning of the round. So here we have the first puff stitch. So you want to go into this puff stitch, so the top of the stitch. So this is the chain 1 that we worked at the beginning of the round, which did not count as a stitch. So don't go into that one, go into the top of the puff stitch, yarn over and pull through both loops. So work a slip stitch. And now you can pull your yarn out and your hook and cut your yarn, as we're going to be changing colours again for next round. So cut your yarn, making sure to leave a tail to weave in or work over later. And we are ready to begin round 3. We are now on to round 3. And in round 3, we are going to be working into the chain 1 spaces from last round. So into this space, this space, this space, this space, into the chain 1 spaces. So you want to start off by attaching your new colour or your new yarn into any chain 1 space. So you can choose any space around, so it could be this one, this one, this one, it's up to you. So I'm going to go into this one here, and you just want to insert your hook into the space. Then take your new yarn or your new colour, place this over the end of your crochet hook, and pull this through. So there we have attached a new colour, and then you want to chain 1. So this is just like last round. Pull your yarn through and then chain 1 to secure it, and then we are ready to begin round 3. So like I said, in round 3 we're going to be working into the chain 1 spaces from last round, And into each chain 1 space, we're going to do a large puff stitch and then chain 2. So we're going to do large puff stitch, chain 2, large puff stitch, chain 2. So in round 2, we did a smaller puff stitch. So in this round, we are doing the same thing using the same method, but the stitch is just going to be a little bit bigger. So we're going to do a large puff stitch and then chain 2 into every single chain 1 space from last round. So into this first space here where we have attached our new colour, we're going to begin by doing a large puff stitch. So to do a large puff stitch, you want to yarn over and then go into the space and pull up a loop, then yarn over and go down into the same space again and pull up a loop, yarn over, go into the same space for a 3rd time and pull up a loop, then do the same thing a 4th time, and then finally a 5th time. So you are yarning over, going into the stitch and pulling up a loop 5 times for your large puff stitch. And now you should have 11 loops on your hook. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 and 11. And yarn over and pull through all 11 loops. And this may be a little bit tricky, especially with this yarn that I'm using. It's quite a thick yarn, so it is quite difficult. So I'm just going through all 11 loops, and then you want to chain 2. So there I have done a large puff stitch, chain 2 into this chain 1 space from the previous round. And we're going to do that into every single space around. So yarn over and go into this next space here. So right down into the next space and work your first puff stitch. So pull up a loop and do this 5 times. Go into the stitch and pull up a loop 5 times. So there's 4 and 5, and you should now have 11 loops on your hook. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and yarn over and pull through all 11 loops. So pull through all 11 loops like that, and then chain 2. So large puff stitch, chain 2, and we're going to then go into the next chain 1 space here and do a large puff stitch. So yarn over, go into the stitch, pull up a loop, and do that 5 times. So there's a 2nd time, 3rd time, 4th time and 5th time. And the difference between the large and the small is that you do that 3 times with the small, 5 times with the large. So we now have 11 loops on our hook, and pull through all 11 and then chain 2. And just do this all the way along for this round. So I have just finished working that all the way around for round 3, and I have done my last puff stitch and chain 2, and at the end of this round you should have 16 of these puff stitches around, so 16 sets of puff stitch and chain 2. So now to finish off round 3, you want to do a slip stitch into the first puff stitch that we worked at the beginning of the round. So here we have the first puff stitch, and I'm going to go into the top of this puff stitch, which is here. So go into the top of the first one, yarn over and work a slip stitch. And now you can pull your yarn out and your hook and cut your yarn, and we're ready to begin round 4. So we are now on to round 4 of our earmuffs, and in round 4 we are going to be working into the chain 2 spaces from last round. So here, 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 into the chain 2 spaces. So you want to start by attaching your new colour into one of these chain 2 spaces. So I'm going to choose this one, and you just want to insert your hook into the space, take your yarn, place it over the end of your hook, pull it through and then chain 1. So there we have attached our new colour and we're ready to start round 4. So now round 4 is very simple. We are simply going to do 3 double crochets into every single chain space around. So into every single chain 2 space, you want to do 3 double crochets. And now if you want your earmuffs to be a little bit smaller, so if you were making them for a child or a teenager, then instead of doing 3 double crochets into each stitch around, you could do 3 single crochets or 3 half double crochets, depending on how big you want them. So this is going to be the size of my earmuffs, and I have done 3 double crochets into each stitch around. But if you want them to be smaller, you can do 3 half double crochets, or if you were doing them for a child, I would say do 3 single crochets into each chain space around. So I'm going to do 3 double crochets. So we have attached our yarn and chained 1. So now I'm going to yarn over and go into the space, yarn over and pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through 2 loops, and yarn over and pull through the final 2 loops on your hook. So there I have 1 double crochet, and I'm going to yarn over and go down into the same space and work a second one, and then yarn over and go into the same space again and work a third one. So there I have 3 double crochets all in this space. So now I'm going to move on to the next space here, just skip on to the next space and go into the space and work 3 double crochets all into this space. So 1, 2 and 3. Then just move on to the next space here, ignore the stitch, move on to the next space and do 3 double crochets, and you may be doing double crochets, half double crochets, single crochets, it doesn't matter. So do 3 double crochets and just do this all the way around for this round. 3 double crochets into every single chain space. So I have just finished working that all the way around for round 4, and then to finish off this round you want to do a slip stitch into the very first double crochet that we worked, and not the chain 1, the first double crochet or half double crochet or single crochet, whatever you did. And once you have finished that, we have completed round 4, and you do not want to fasten off as we are going to stick with this colour for the rest of our earmuffs. So do not cut your yarn, and we are ready to begin round 5. So we are now on to round 5, and round 5 is a very simple round of 1 double crochet into each stitch. So you want to do 1 double crochet into every single stitch around for round 5. So chain 1, and this chain 1 does not count as a stitch. Yarn over and go down into the same stitch here that our chain 1 comes out of, and work your first double crochet. Then work 1 double crochet into the next stitch, and 1 double crochet into the next one. And if you did half double crochets or single crochets in the previous round, you still have to do double crochets in this round. So work 1 double crochet into every single stitch around for round 5. So I have just finished working that all the way around for round 5, and at the end of that round you should have worked 48 stitches around, so 48 double crochets. And then to finish off this round, go into the very first double crochet that you worked, not the chain 1, the double crochet, and work a slip stitch. So finish off by working a slip stitch, and now we're ready to move on to round 6. So we are now on to round 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of our earmuffs. And for round 6, we are going to do another simple round of double crochet. So you want to do 1 double crochet into every single stitch around, again for round 6. And if you didn't use double crochets in round 4, so here, then you do not want to use double crochets in round 6. So for example, if you did 3 single crochets into each space in round 4, then you want to do 1 single crochet into each stitch around in round 6. And if you did 3 half double crochets into each space in round 4, then you want to do 1 half double crochet into each stitch around in round 6. But I used double crochets, so I'm going to do a round of double crochets. So chain 1 and then go down into the first stitch and work a double crochet, and you may be doing double crochets, single crochets, half double crochets here depending on what you did before. And we're just going to do 1 double crochet into every single stitch along. So work your stitches all the way around, 1 into each stitch. So I have just finished working that all the way around for round 6, and I have finished off by doing a slip stitch into the very first double crochet that I worked. And now we are ready to begin round 7. So we are now on to round 7 of our earmuffs. And to begin round 7, you want to chain 1. And now for round 7, we are going to do double crochet and then 2 double crochets together all the way around. So double crochet, 2 double crochets together, double crochet, 2 double crochets together all the way around for this round. And when we do 2 double crochets together, we're effectively turning 2 stitches into 1. So we're going to work 2 double crochets, but we're not going to complete either of them, and then we're going to complete them both together at the same time. So we're going to be turning 2 stitches into 1. So we're going to do double crochet, 2 double crochets together, double crochet, 2 double crochets together all the way around. So we have chained 1, and this does not count as a stitch. So yarn over and go down into the first stitch and work your first double crochet. So there we have double crochet, and now we are going to do our first set of 2 double crochets together. So to do 2 double crochets together, yarn over and go into the first stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through 2 loops, but do not complete the double crochet. So do not do this last step here, leave the double crochet incomplete and move on to the next one. Yarn over and go into the next stitch, pull up a loop and yarn over and pull through 2 loops, and do not complete this double crochet either. So here we have 2 incomplete double crochets, 1 and 2, and 3 loops on our hook, and you want to yarn over and pull through all 3 loops to complete the stitch. So there we have done double crochet and then 2 double crochets together. So now we're going to repeat that again, yarn over and go into the next stitch and work 1 double crochet. And now we're going to do another set of 2 double crochets together over these 2 stitches here. So yarn over and go into the next stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through 2 loops, yarn over and go into the next stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through 2 loops, then yarn over and pull through all 3 loops on your hook. So there we have another set of double crochet, 2 double crochets together, and you want to repeat that again and again and again all the way around. So I'm going to do double crochet and then 2 double crochets together, then double crochet, and then 2 double crochets together, and just repeat this all the way around for round 7. So I have just finished working that all the way around for that round, and at the end of that round you should have 32 stitches around, and if you have 1 stitch left at the end, then just work a final stitch into that last stitch. So work a final double crochet as long as you have 32 stitches across. It may be that you have gone wrong somewhere down here and worked your first double crochet into the wrong space, so just work 1 extra at the end to make sure that you have 32. It's very easily done. So now to finish off round 7, work a slip stitch into the first double crochet, and we have finished that round and we're ready to move on to round 8. So we are now on to round 8 of our earmuffs. And to begin round 8, you want to chain 1, and this chain 1 does not count as a stitch. So now for this round, we are going to do 2 double crochets together all the way around. So we are going to work sets of 2 double crochets together all the way around. So we're going to do 2 double crochets together, 2 double crochets together, 2 double crochets together, all the way around, and we're going to cut our 32 stitches down to 16 in this round. So we're going to be cutting out half of our stitches by working sets of 2 double crochets together and turning 2 stitches into 1. So we're going to yarn over and go down into the first stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through 2 loops. So there we have 1 incomplete double crochet, then yarn over and go into the next stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through 2 loops, then yarn over and pull through all 3 loops on your hook. So there we have our first set of 2 double crochets together, and you want to yarn over and go into the next stitch and start your next set like that, and then do the same thing into the next stitch. So just continue to work sets of 2 double crochets together all the way around for this round. So like that, so I have worked that all the way around for round 8, and then to finish off, work a slip stitch into the very first set that we worked, making sure you're not going into the chain 1, you're going into your first set. So there we have round 8 completed, and we have one more round to do. But before you do that, we are going to add our headband, which is going to go in between our earmuffs, and then we are going to stuff our earmuffs. So we need to do this now before we work our last round, otherwise the closing or the opening here will be too small and we won't be able to get in and fill it right and also secure the headband. So what you want to do is you want to make your 2 earmuffs, so 2 of these, up to round 8. So I have just finished my first one up to round 8, and then I am in the middle of making my second one. So you want to have both of them up to this stage. So go ahead and do that, and then I will show you how to make your headband, or how to crochet around a headband, and then how to secure it into your earmuffs, then how to stuff them, and then how to finish up doing round 9, which is the final round of both of your earmuffs. So go ahead and make 2 earmuffs up to round 8, and then I will show you how to do the rest. The band, which is going to go in between the side parts of your earmuffs, you want to take a headband, an old headband, and you can use any type you like. However, ideally I would go with a wider one. I didn't have any wider ones, I just had these thin ones, but I would go with a wider one, probably this wide, this thick, if you have one. So take your headband, and you want to take the crochet hook that you have been using, and then what you want to do is you want to take the yarn that you are going to work around the headband and do a slip knot. So take your yarn and wrap the yarn around your finger twice. Take the first loop and pull it over the second loop. Then take the second loop, pull it all the way over your finger. Take your crochet hook, go in through the space and pull tight. And there you have a slip knot. And you then want to take your headband and go to the edge of the headband, place your crochet hook underneath the headband, but then take your yarn and go over the top of the headband like this. So the crochet hook is underneath, the yarn is over the top, and this can be a little bit fiddly, but you want to use your crochet hook and pick up your yarn. So pick up both strands of yarn, your new yarn, and pull these through your slip knot. So if you can see, I have got my crochet hook underneath the headband, and then I have pulled my yarn around the top. Then I'm going to take my crochet hook, pick up both pieces of yarn, the yarn coming from the ball and also the tail or the end, pick them up and pull them through the slip knot like that, and then pull tight, and that attaches your yarn to your headband. And now chain 1 to secure it. So there we have the yarn attached to the headband, and now we're just going to evenly work single crochets around the headband. So go underneath the headband, pull up a loop, and yarn over and pull through both loops on your hook. So just work a single crochet as normal, but we're just going around the headband instead of into a stitch. So go underneath the headband, pick up the yarn and pull it through, and then yarn over and pull through both loops on your hook. Go underneath the headband, pick up a loop and yarn over and pull through both loops on your hook. And just continue to do this evenly along your headband and then shuffle your stitches down to get the effect. So I have just finished crocheting along my headband, so I crocheted all the way along and then I gathered my stitches up so that they were nice and tight, and then I twisted my work so that the seam was on the inside of the headband, and I actually went out and bought a thicker headband as the thinner one that I was using was way too small. So make sure that you were using a thick headband. And then when I got to the end, I fastened off, so pulled my yarn out and my hook and cut my yarn, and then left a tail to weave in later. And you want to leave a little end at each side so that you can poke that through the crochet parts of your earmuffs, and then we can attach that to this part here. So once you have crocheted all the way around and left a little end at the bottom, we are ready to begin attaching our headband to the crochet part. So I have already attached one of the crochet sections of my earmuffs to the headband. So you can see I have attached it here. I just have this last two little ends to weave in. So I have attached this one already, and I'm now going to do the second one in the exact same way. So you should have up to round 8 of either side, so you want to do both sides of your earmuffs up to round 8, then crochet around your headband and then attach them and finish them one at a time. So I have done one and I have round 8 of the second one, and I'm going to attach this one in the same way. So to attach your earmuffs to your headband, you can do this in many different ways. There are lots of different ways which you can do this. You can use super glue or hot glue. You can try sewing your earmuff to the headband. So if you have a fabric headband, you could use a needle and thread to sew it to the earmuff, or you could sew the crochet part of the headband to the crochet part of the earmuff using a needle and thread. But the way that I'm going to do it is I'm going to make almost like a cork effect on the end here, and that gives a nice secure attachment to your headband. So to start off, you want to take your crochet section and your headband, and you want to insert the end of your headband through the top of your crochet. So you can choose wherever you like to insert your headband, but I'm going to go into the third row of this purple, so the first, second, third along the join. So I'm just going to insert my headband into this stitch, and make sure that you are going into the same place on both sides of your earmuffs, and you can go wherever you like and just insert your headband or the end of your headband into your earmuffs like that. And then you kind of want to turn your crochet part of the earmuffs inside out so that you can see your headband here. So now you could glue this or you could sew this, but I'm going to use some Scotch tape, so some tape, to make a cork effect. So what I have here is I have my tape, my Scotch tape, and I'm going to wrap the tape around this end again and again and again until I have a big section here, and then it will not be able to fit through this stitch, so your headband won't come out. So this is a very easy way of doing it, but it is very effective. So take your tape and wrap it around the end like this, and then keep wrapping around and around and around. So keep going around with your tape. So I have gone around and around and around with my tape, and you will see now that if you try to pull your headband through, it will not go because you have a kind of a tape cork at the end. So now you can fasten this off, so cut the tape, so cut your tape like that, and then just secure it down I'm going to secure this tape down like that. And then if you wanted, you could glue this as well, so add a bit of glue to make it very secure. But I just attached this one with the tape method and I feel like it is secure enough. Before we close up our earmuff, we need to stuff it. So we are going to stuff it, and before you stuff it, you can weave the ends into the inside of the earmuff if you like, but I'm not going to weave mine in as they are all just going to be in the middle and I know they won't come undone. But if you want to, you can weave them in and then take your stuffing, so you can use toy stuffing or cotton wool or whatever you like, and then stuff your earmuffs. So I have not stuffed mine too much, but just enough so that they are nice and warm. So like that, so make sure that both sides are stuffed in equal amounts, and now we are going to close up the top. So we're going to close up the top of our earmuffs. So you want to take your crochet hook, so take your crochet hook like this, and at the moment we have 16 stitches around the hole at the top, and we're going to bring this down to 8. So you want to chain 1, and then we are just going to do 8 sets of 2 double crochets together. So this is the same stitch that we have used for the last 2 rounds. So we have 2 double crochets together. We're going to do that 8 times, so 8 sets. So yarn over and go down into the first stitch and work an incomplete double crochet. Yarn over and go down into the next stitch and work an incomplete double crochet, and then pull through all 3 loops. So there we have 1 set, and we're going to do this a second time, and then just continue to do this all the way around, and that should be 8 sets of 2 double crochets together in total. Like that. So I have worked that all the way around, and you can see we have started to close up the hole. So now to finish off this round, you want to do a slip stitch into the first set that you worked. So here is the first set, and I'm going to do a slip stitch into this set. So like that, and then fasten off. So you want to pull your yarn out and your hook and cut your yarn, and make sure that you leave a nice long tail, as we're going to weave this tail or this end through the end of this hole to close it up. So fasten off, leaving a long tail, and then we can finish off closing up the hole. So once you have fastened off, you now want to take a needle and thread your needle with this end. So thread the needle, and then we are simply going to weave the needle and yarn in and out of this top end here. So go into the next stitch and pull your yarn through, then go back down into the next stitch like that, into the next stitch, through to the next, into the next, through to the next, pulling your yarn through, and just do this all the way around, and then go into the very first stitch that you went into there, and then pull this end nice and tight, and that will close up the top of your earmuffs. So now you can weave this end into the inside of your earmuffs, and then for the end of the headband here, I'm just going to weave this down into the inside of my earmuff, and then I worked over the other one for a decent amount of time up to about here, and then I cut that off. But if you didn't do that and you have the other end at the end here, then just weave it into the earmuff as well. And there we have finished once you have weaved all of your ends in, and your earmuffs are nice and secure. So you can always add a little bit of glue if they are not very secure. So I have finished making my earmuffs, and I have weaved the ends into the inside of the crochet sections, and I have finished. So that is it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it and found it easy to follow. Please make sure to subscribe to my channel for more crochet videos, and thanks again for watching. Bye!